of you, but with the right mindset, it might just be what you need to save yourself. So that's
that took a twist.
Yeah, plot change. So that was interesting. I think there were some people very upset that serverless also turns out not to be the final answer. So that was very interesting. And don't do empathy, just do sarcasm. I feel like I'm very good at that. I'm not sure if that's a good feat though, but yeah. What happened in the security track?
So in the security track, we started with actually talking about COVID apps. I mean, given how we were standing far apart, the MC along with myself, Kiara, we were talking about COVID apps. And then Melanie spoke about all the interesting aspects about these apps and how we should implement security in them, and about how the contract tracing works and things like that. So that was very interesting. That was a great way to start off the day. And then we spoke about threat intelligence, and we spoke about different threat vectors that we couldn't have possibly known existed without, these awesome talks. And then we spoke about key management, and then one of our speakers could not be present, so we had to turn over to a video. So it was a pretty roller coaster of a security
day. It's possible, right? We made it happen.
Yeah, we made it happen, exactly. Yeah. But also the main track, speaking of mutual empathy, the main track spoke about, the keynote speaker spoke about mutual empathy today as well, which was
I don't know, I didn't listen to the keynote speaker. Of course I did. Yeah, it was an amazing opening today. But if you've missed any of the talks, don't worry. All the talks have been recorded and they'll be published soon-ish or now-ish, so you'll be able to watch those in demand later on. We also had sketch notes done from all of the talks, and we will publish them. I mean, there will be a gift to our speakers to have their graphic interpretations of their talks, but then we'll also share them on Twitter for your viewing pleasure as well. We really want to take a little bit of time to thank Nomobo, who's been behind the scenes making all of this possible. I told you, bark not too much.
But dog again.
Oh well, she's been busy today. But Nomobo has been wonderful, making sure that all of this happened without too many glitches. And honestly, if there weren't any glitches, then what we would be talking about, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. It's not like we're tech people.
So really huge thank you to Nomobo. We'll also thank all of the speakers individually, and of course, like everyone behind the scenes. We have amazing moderators at the open spaces. We had Dawn join Sheila and myself for the Code of Conduct team. We had an amazing team anyway behind the scenes, also making sure that we are fed and happy and still high on energy. I blame a lot of coffee.
And this awesome room from Schuberg Phyllis.
Gosh, yes, yeah. I love some of the messages that are, in the background. They're very, they're very empowering, I think.
Yeah.
And we want to take some time to thank the sponsors, of course, one more time. Our media sponsor, HeliCloud, our gold sponsors, Microsoft, Schuberg Phyllis, and Contrast Security, our silver sponsor, Container Solutions, and our bronze sponsor, FullStack. And I think also in the chat, it was suggested that we should write a postmortem in DevOps style, obviously. And I think we'll be able to deliver on that as well.
Yeah. We'll write something and publish it for all the world to see.
And learn from. And I think one of the other questions that I thought was very interesting, like, how will this happen next year? Say that we can do these type of things in real life again. If we can do some sort of hybrid type of event where we can still deliver this experience also to the people that just can't travel to the conference or can't be there for whatever reason. And I think we should think really hard about that and deliver an experience like that.
Exactly. This was a very interactive experience too. So we could see all our attendees, not at the same time we were on stage, but we could at least see the feedback that we're receiving.
We felt that you were there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We could hear the questions as if they were just being shouted out from across the room. We were taking everything down and we were like, let's get up on stage and let's answer these questions now. So it was a very interactive experience. I think we learned a lot from this.
It was a good experience.
Yeah.
So Nathan, I believe you've joined us as well, and we would love to hear from you. What's your plan for the rest of the day still?
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, great, excellent. Yes, I'm very excited to be here. Unfortunately, I missed the earlier parts of the day because I'm in the U.S., and so I was sound asleep in bed. It was quite glorious, but I was able to catch some of the
Good
security
for you.
track this afternoon. I thought it was really, really good. And I'm really interested to see how we take DevOps Days into the future, where we can really think about that hybrid approach that you just talked about, where we have some of the conference happening online, some of it happening in person. I think that's fascinating. I do have a few closing thoughts for us today as part of a presentation, but I think that if I'm not mistaken, maybe there's going to be a happy hour afterwards. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
I mean, why not? We're all at home. We can have a toast.
Exactly.
Drink your favorite beverage, right?
Absolutely. So I think that will happen in the open spaces, right?
Excellent. Yes, I will join the open spaces and share a toast with you all. I'm really disappointed I couldn't be in Amsterdam. It's one of my favorite cities in the
We
world.
are as well. I wish you were here.
As you can see, I love Amsterdam. I love DevOps Days Amsterdam. And I'm really thankful that I was able to join and participate in some fashion today, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were.
Yeah, we're really glad you were here as well. Yeah, you were running open spaces last year. And I still remember your developer, the avocado shirt that you were wearing last year when you were running.
Yes, with the tiny little avocados. Yes, that's your signature shirt. I love that one.
Yeah.
Any one of those.
Yeah. Indeed. All right. So what shall we do? Shall
Nathen,
we go
you want
into
to
the
kick it off with your parting thoughts? Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
Yes.
And then
let's go.
we'll all meet in the open spaces later on and share a toast. Absolutely. Looking forward to that. Thank you all. Thank you for joining us today.
Excellent.
Please listen to Nathan's keynote. We're looking forward to seeing you in the open space with the toast later.
Yes, in fact, you have to stick around for the keynote because if you're not here, the keynote will be very boring. So I think we can switch over to my slides then. That would be great. All right, so I'm hoping that you can see my slides. I'm going to assume that you can, and I'm going to press forward. So thank you all so much for having me today. Join you here at DevOps oNLine. I really appreciate all of the work that the organizers have done to put this together. Obviously, this global pandemic is impacting everyone across the world. And the volunteer organizers for this event have really come together and shifted from 2 in-person events to a combined online event that makes this event fully accessible to many, many more people, many different time zones, and I'm really, really grateful for that. Hopefully you've been here today and have watched the talks and have participated in the open space discussions, and you've learned a lot. Maybe you've been inspired to try something new. Well, that's the question that I want to ask you now, and I really want you to reflect on this as we wrap up DevOps Days Online. Now what? Now what will you do? So you've heard this before, right? This is DevOps. We have this wall of confusion, and our incentives are simply not aligned. We have developers on one side. We say your job, make things fast. We turn to the operators on the other side. We say your job is to make things stable. This is where DevOps was born. How do we bring these 2 teams together? But the truth, the sad truth, frankly, is that this wall of confusion, these misaligned incentives, don't exist exclusively between dev and ops. They also exist between the business and IT. But this is a DevOps Days. We're all technicians. We're all engineers here. Maybe we're developers. Maybe we're operators. Maybe we're DevOps. Maybe we're site reliability engineers. Just who is the business? This is a question that oftentimes comes up, but I would argue this. Asking who is the business is the wrong question. The thing that I'd like you to think about today is why is the business? Why does your business exist? You get up every day and go to work. Okay, maybe you don't go anywhere anymore, or you don't go to the office as frequently, but you get up every day and you do some work. you do some work to help move your business forward. It is extremely important that we understand the business of our business. In fact, I would argue that DevOps was never really about just getting developers and operators working together. DevOps has always been about recognizing that technology is an enabler of the business, and we have to work together to create the best businesses possible, to create the most business value, and to serve our customers. So every morning, I want you to think about, why does my business exist? What is the business of my business? What role can I play in that? Now, it can be really difficult as a technologist to feel like you're connected directly to the customers, to feel like you're connected directly to the business. So I also want you to think about, with DevOps, how do we enable the business? What are the things that we can do? Well, we know that the way that we can enable the business is to allow the business to move faster. We can ship software faster, and we also need to make sure that those software systems are as reliable as possible. And so now I have some questions for you. I would like you to take a moment right now. I'm going to ask you a series of 4 questions. I want you to stop and think about, in your head, the team that you work on, the primary application that you work with. I'm going to ask you 4 questions about that primary application. This is the first question. What is your lead time for changes? And when I talk about lead time for changes, I'm really talking about from the time code gets committed to the version control system until that time that code is available to your customers. So please, as you're watching, I invite you to join this Slido and give us the answers to this question for yourself. Thinking about your team, what is the lead time for changes? From the time that you commit code to your version control system until the time that that code is actually available in the production environment. I'm hoping that this question works for you. Aha, all right. We have at least one answer, so I know that it's working. Less than 1 day. This is good. Think about this for yourself. With your team, with your applications, how long does it take? All right, now we're seeing some answers come in. Great. Now, being that this is a DevOps, of course, or a DevOps days, I should not have to mention, of course, that all of your changes, all of your code, all of your configuration belongs in a version control system. This is fundamental to the velocity and safety and the teamwork that you have. Please, 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 whatever you do, make sure that all of your changes are captured in a version control system. All right, we've gotten some good answers here. It looks like I think it's pretty interesting, actually. If you look at the numbers, the top 2, less than 1 day and 1 to 6 months. So I think as an industry, we still have a lot of work to do. Let's take another question here. Thinking about that same application or that same team, how often does your organization deploy code to production or release to its end users? So how frequently are you pushing changes out into the production environment? Is that fewer than once per 6 months? Is it once a week to once a month? Let's get some data here as well. Data. It's what we live on in DevOps. We use this data to help us make decisions. We can use this data to help us identify where we have shortcomings within our team. All right, I'm going to give you a couple more seconds here to answer this question. Let's see where we end up. All right, very good. Third question coming up for everyone here. How long does it generally take to restore service when a service incident or a defect that impacts users occurs? So you've had a problem, something is wrong in your production environment. How long does it take you to recover? How long does it take to fix that? I like seeing this less than 1 day. That's good. That's good. There are at least 1 or 2 answers that are more than 6 months. Wow. This sounds really, really tough. All right, very good. And then our fourth and final question that I have for you today. What percentage of changes to production or releases to users result in degraded service? I like to call this the O expletive metric because when you push a change into the production environment and then you go, oh, expletive, this is what we're measuring here. So does that happen frequently? Does that happen pretty infrequently? Now, I'll share a story from my own past. I was working in an organization where we were a very agile organization. We were pretty proud of the work that we did. We would work in sprints, and every 2 weeks we would deploy to our production environment. And my job as the operator was to push the deploy button. But before I pushed the deploy button, we had all kinds of ceremony in our organization built around this. I would send out release notes to the entire company to say, hey, on Tuesday morning, this is what we're going to push out. This is the great new features that our users will have. The challenge, the thing that I didn't know at the time, was that when that message went out, a bet happened within the office. There was an office pool that asked this question. Okay, so Nathen said he's going to push the button at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. At what time will we receive the email that says he's rolling back all of those changes? And unfortunately, we found ourselves in this situation. Every 2 weeks, we would push out changes. And then a day later, or sometimes a few hours later, we would roll those changes back. We would go and fix all of the things that were broken, and then we would push them out again. Unfortunately, in that organization, we were probably in the 61 to 75% range of changes that we had to roll back. So these changes that we pushed to production required degraded service. Now, if you think about that, we later realized and understood as an engineering organization that the way to fix this was to ship more frequently. So when we then went to the business and said, hey, we know how to solve this problem, we're going to ship more frequently, the business was very, very nervous. Every 2 weeks, you push changes, and that disrupts our business. Now you want to change that from every 2 weeks to multiple times a day, so you're going to be continually interrupting our business. It took us time to build trust within that organization to show that we could, in fact, push to the biz or push out to production and solve those problems much faster. And in the end, we were much safer and much faster. Okay, great. So you've given me your answers here. This is really good. When we think about that question that I asked you, what's next? What are you going to do after today? The first thing that you have to really think about is make sure that you understand where is our business today? How are we performing so that we can improve? I also wanted to share with you really quickly, I'm just going to go over here to cloud.google.com/DevOps. I want to show you something that I encourage you to do with your entire team. On this page, we have a DevOps quick check. And so you can go through this and answer those same 4 questions. I encourage you to ask your teammates to answer these 4 questions and collect that data. So if we look at some of the data that we just committed or just submitted here as a team, what's our lead time for changes? Let's say, well, we kind of came in, there was a mix across the board. I'm just going to say 1 day to 1 week. Our deployment frequency, I think the top one there was between once a day and once per week. Our time to restore was definitely less than 1 day. That was the top ranked answer there. And then our change fail percentage was about 0 to 15%. Now, I said there was only 4 questions. I lied. There's 5. Choose your industry. I'm just going to grab financial services as the industry here. And now we can view the results. This, I think, is where this page actually starts to get really powerful. There's a couple of things that you can do here. I encourage you, as I said, to go and assess with your team, where do you sit? But don't get in a room and debate the answers. My recommendation to you is to have each individual person on your team provide an answer. You can then see where you sit, and you can compare those answers with the other answers that your team has given. I think it's really fascinating to see how some people have a different view of your software delivery performance than other people within your team. Now, if you look closely at this URL, you'll see that all of the answers are encoded in the URL. So you can actually just start collecting these and watch these numbers change over time. Now, knowing where you are is just the first step. The next thing we have to do is we actually have to go and improve. And so on this page, you can see a little bit of information about sort of where you stand, how you rank with others. But then, and this is really important here, we provide you insights into how to improve your software delivery capability. In fact, over here on this DevOps page, you can explore all of this research. This research is based on the DevOps Research and Assessment team that's part of Google. So you can explore Dora's research program here. You can find an outcome and all of the various capabilities that help drive that outcome. So for example, if your team wants to focus on less burnout, you can see that one of the things that leads to less burnout is an improved change approval process. You can click into this and read about the change approval process. So that's what I wanted to show you on the site really quickly. Thank you for the demo, and thank you for sharing your questions. I really want you to think about, though, what are you going to do tomorrow? How are you going to take what you learned with your team or what you learned here at DevOps Days? How are you going to take that back to your team? And I want to remind you, it takes work. And we don't have to do it all at once. In fact, we will probably fail if we try to do it all at once. So think about, where are you? Where do you sit today? What capabilities need improving? And go and improve those capabilities. Focus your work on those things. There's one other thing I want to remind you of. It does take work, but you don't have to do it alone. And in fact, you will probably fail if you try to do it alone. In DevOps, there is no individual. We are all a team, and we need to get the team working together towards the right goals. So as you leave DevOps Days today, or as you come into work tomorrow, I encourage you, sit down with your team, have a conversation about what you learned, what inspired you today, and take a real objective look at your current software delivery performance and understand, how can we improve that? And set some goals for yourself and for your team. Make incremental progress with an eye on where you want to go. You won't wake up tomorrow and have everything solved. That's okay. Take what you can do, make a small improvement, and continue moving forward. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today. I encourage you to continue to work with your peers at your organization and your peers within this community, within this DevOps Days community. We're all thankful that you're here and have been able to join us today. And we hope that you take the lessons that you've learned today and the inspiration that you've had, take that back to your team and make your organization better. And remember why your business exists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathen.
Thank you so much, Nathen. That was very insightful.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that we're all a team. I'm just going to say team from now on. Not hi, everyone. Hi, team.
Hi, team. Yeah.
Good.
There you
That's
go.
I know what you're alluding to as well. Yeah.
I love
exactly.
that. That's good.
Thanks again, Nathen. You can all find most of the speakers and Nathen in the open spaces. The link was shared in the chat. So come join us and let's have a happy hour together and let's hang out. And if you have any thoughts and any comments, we can just have some banter. It'll be nice to do this virtually. Ideally, we would have done this in person in a nice terrace somewhere, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let's do the best we can.
Exactly, we make do. And then also after today, I mean, it's not done after today, right? Well, please save the date for the next DevOps meetup, Amsterdam meetup. Of course, it's going to be an online meetup still because we'll be in this situation for a little bit longer. But we're all in this together because we're a team, right? So save the date for September 15 for another DevOps meetup.
Yep. I also want to give a shout out to the DevSecOps meetup as well. So they're having meetups as well. So please go check them out. They're our community friends. So I would encourage you to go check them out as well.
Yeah. So thank you so much again, all of you, for being with us today and for being so active in the chat. It was really a pleasure.
And when you think about those meetups,
I think this is
take a friend to the meetups.
Sorry.
I was just saying,
meetups. That's a good idea. I love that.
Yes, we are a team. Do not go to the meetup alone. Bring someone with you. And I encourage you to reach across the department. Bring someone from a different department, or bring your manager along, or if you are a manager, bring along one of your direct reports. Bring more people to those meetups so that we can all learn and share together.
Exactly. So we'll share the link so everybody can watch at a safe distance from each other.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. That's the most important thing.
And we hope that we'll see you all next year, be it online or otherwise.
Yeah. And in the meantime, don't forget to join the happy hour.
See you there.
See you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.